After months of rumors, the Nintendo Switch Lite is finally on its way. As a more portable alternative to the current Switch, Nintendo confirmed the console's release in the coming months. In the meantime, let's take a look at 15 things you should know before purchasing the Switch Lite. Releasing September 20th. While it doesn't accompany a more powerful, upgraded version of the Switch, not quite, but more on that later, the Nintendo Switch Lite is coming very soon, September 20th to be more exact. That means you're in prime position to enjoy the remake of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, which launches on the same day, with Luigi's Mansion 3 coming on October 31st. That's not including other available titles like Astral Chain out in August or the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield. Priced at $199. The price point is also decidedly more forgiving than the Nintendo Switch. The Switch Lite will set you back $199 compared to the current Switch bundle, which retails for $299. That extra $100 can be used to pick up a game, a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, or maybe even a cool carrying case. Treat yourself, as they say. Weight. The most obvious thing to note about the Switch Lite is that it is in fact lighter than the current model. While the current Switch clocks in at about 0.88 pounds, the Switch Lite is a measly 0.61 pounds. Build quality remains to be tested, but expect a fairly well put together device because it is Nintendo after all. Screen size. Of course, some other sacrifices have had to be made in order to accommodate the lighter size. The Switch Lite's screen size is 5.5 inches with touch support, down from the Switch's 6.2-inch size screen. It may not seem like that much of a difference, but consider that some Switch games have problems with visibility in handheld mode. This is mostly down to lower resolution or gimped graphics, and while the Switch could fix this by being docked, the Switch Lite doesn't really have that kind of an option, and that's because of no dock support. The Nintendo Switch Lite can't be connected to a dock, which means you won't be able to play the Switch titles on your TV. This does help drive the handheld's cost down and reinforce it as more of a portable option. However, again, don't be surprised if certain titles, like Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus or Xenoblade Chronicles 2, aren't nearly as impressive in handheld mode as they are docked. No removable Joy-Cons. Of course, there are other features that have been removed from the Switch Lite, like the Joy-Cons. The controls are affixed to the unit. They can't be removed and used separately like Joy-Cons can. You can connect a Pro Controller or a Joy-Con via Bluetooth and they will work per normal, and a separate Joy-Con charging grip will be required to keep the Joy-Con charged anyway. Incompatible titles. On that note, certain games like 1-2 Switch and the Nintendo Labo kits won't work with the Switch Lite. But if you're playing 1-2 Switch, it's possible to connect separate Joy-Cons and still enjoy the game. Whenever buying games for the Switch Lite, keep a lookout for handheld mode icons to know if it's fully compatible. No rumble or IR camera. Other removed features include rumble and the IR camera, which may be a non-issue for some. HD rumble was a serious marketing point for the Switch, but if haptic feedback isn't super necessary for your immersion, then you might not care for its removal. The same goes for the IR camera. No kickstand. Did you ever enjoy playing your Switch in tabletop mode? Because that's also not possible on the Switch Lite. It doesn't have a kickstand, so you can't say prop up the handheld. You could technically find a way to orient it so that playing with a Pro Controller is less annoying, but we wouldn't advise it. Return of the D-pad. Perhaps the one thing that hardcore Nintendo handheld fans will love about the Switch Lite is its D-pad. That's right, Nintendo has brought back the classic D-pad. Instead of 4 separate buttons meant to mimic directional functionality, we get an honest-to-goodness D-pad with that solid feel and feedback. At least we're hoping it's solid and has good feedback. 3 to 7 hours of battery life. With a smaller size and smaller screen, it's perhaps no surprise that the Switch Lite has a better battery life. It can last between 3 to 7 hours as opposed to the current Switch's 2.5 to 6.5 hours. That being said, if you're still interested in dock support, HD rumble, and so on, the Switch will be receiving an updated model later this month, which extends the battery life to 4.5 to 9 hours. 32 gigabytes of internal storage and a micro SD card. For all the changes that are being made, there are a few things that the Switch Lite will have in common with the Switch. The internal storage is still 32 gigabytes, and the micro SD slot is still included to allow for up to 2 terabytes of additional storage via the micro SD XC card. The latter must be purchased separately though, and it comes highly recommended, especially if you mainly purchase digital titles. Colors. In terms of color, there's definitely more variety to be had with the Switch Lite. It'll be available in 3 colors: yellow, gray, and turquoise. The minor caveat is that since there are no Joy-Cons to remove, you're somewhat losing out on mixing and matching different colored Joy-Cons together with the system. A small price to pay, we say. Nintendo Switch Lite, ZACIAN and ZAMAZENTA Edition. There's one more color choice for the Switch Lite, and it's arguably the best of the lot. It's the Nintendo Switch Lite ZACIAN and ZAMAZENTA edition, releasing in November alongside Pokemon Sword and Shield. This device sports a light gray shell that's very reminiscent of the SNES, with red and blue buttons corresponding to the new game's logos. It doesn't include either Pokemon Sword or Shield, but it still costs $199, the same as the standard Switch Lite. Not replacing the 3DS. The Nintendo Switch Lite is obviously a more powerful handheld than the 3DS. Despite this, heck, despite the existence of the Switch itself, which is already good for portable gaming, Nintendo is not phasing out the 3DS just yet. As Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser stated, "We'll continue to support our 3DS family of systems as long as there is demand." That doesn't necessarily mean that there's a ton of games coming to the 3DS in the near future, but it's the thought that counts. And that wraps it up. If you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing to our channel. We upload new videos daily. Also, don't forget to switch on the bell notification icon, that way you don't miss out on any of our videos.